We're a little bit late starting the redevelopment agency, so welcome. We have all of the we have all of the RDA here and present, the mayor and Jennifer. So let's get started. The first, let's talk about the approval of minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes for June 27th, 2023, July 18th, 2023, and August 22nd, 2023. And it's come to my attention that the August 22nd minutes have a few corrections that need to be made, so I'm going to separate them from the other 2, and we'll approve them next month. Okay, so if there are no changes to July 27th and July 18th, are there? No? Okay.
I'm good.
All right, so there are no changes regarding June 27th and July 18th. Is that correct?
Correct.
If that's true, then I would appreciate a motion.
I'll move that we approve the minutes for June 27th, 2023 and July 18th, 2023.
I will second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Let's go to the second part of our agenda, and that is citizen comments. So just to let you know that public comments can be made in person during the meeting or may be submitted by sending an email including your name and address to rda@murray.utah.gov. All comments are limited to 3 minutes or less, and email comments will be read into the meeting records. So, does anyone have comments? Also, if you would note your name and city. Okay, seeing none, we'll continue on to our number 3, which is an action item. And that is the consideration of a resolution approving an agreement between the Redevelopment Agency of Murray City and Salt Lake Neighborhood Housing Services DBA NeighborWorks Salt Lake for a contribution of funds to be used for down payment assistance and home improvement loans for qualifying households. Who will present? Oh, there you are.
Good evening. Yes, this RDA staff is requesting consideration of a resolution to provide an additional $200,000 to NeighborWorks of Salt Lake. There's been a large increase in requests for assistance, and staff believes that this would provide additional Murray residents the opportunity to purchase a home. You have already allocated $200,000 to NeighborWorks, and that is typically the amount that we do give in a budget year. However, at the time that money was allotted to them, they already had that money committed in applications. And so we felt that with the RDA, there are various funds available in the RDA, and this would greatly benefit additional residents. Obviously, there's a need for it because the original amount you appropriated has already been assigned to people. So the $200,000 is a recommendation from staff. There was discussion by some of the board members previously that they would like to change that amount. That's entirely up to the RDA board. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Again, to confirm, what was the original amount?
$200,000.
Original amount, and you're asking for an additional 200.
That is correct.
Do we have any idea on how much people are waiting on, or
I
they
do
have
not.
interest? We do
I do
not.
not, yeah.
And if we were to say allocate $400,000, of which we have currently, would we, is that money stay there forever? Do we lose it? If, what happens with that money?
Once it's allocated to NeighborWorks, they will keep it in an account. And
Correct.
they will use it going forward. So, there is a chance
But
that.
then next year, they could have a balance remain. It would stay in that
Exactly.
project, so then maybe
Exactly.
next year, if it
Yeah.
wasn't fully utilized, we
Exactly.
could then
Yeah,
get less in the following year.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
You can do whatever you would like in that regard.
All right, any other questions for Phil? Okay, I think we're good. I would then appreciate a motion.
I move that we consider a resolution approving an agreement between the redevelopment agency of Murray City and Salt Lake Neighborhood Housing Services, DBA NeighborWorks Salt Lake, for a contribution of funds to be used for down payment assistance and home improvement loans for qualifying households.
Councilwoman Dominguez, would you be open to an amendment to increase the amount?
Yes. Sorry, yes.
Could we look at an amendment to increase the amount to double it to 400,000? Again, with the understanding that all these funds stay in this or go to this program. If they're not used, they roll over to the subsequent year, and potentially we would give less in the subsequent year.
Could Gary do the amendment, Jill, of that? Or would it have to be in the same motion?
Say that again.
Could Gary do the amendment to that?
He can.
Separate from my motion? Okay, there we go.
I would like to know what the balance would be, what we've currently got, and if we were to take 400,000, what the balance of that budget would be.
I would assume, let's see, where is Brenda? Brenda.
I knew that too. I was like, she's hiding, but she's in green tonight, so we will find her.
I would assume this would come from the smelter site RDA, but I'm not sure. That's Brenda's.
We have probably close to $2 million in low-income housing. This will come from, a lot of it will come from the smelter site. We may use some of the other RDAs to cover it. If we don't do a budget opening, it'll have to come from all three. If we do a budget opening in the future, I can pull it all from the smelter site. Because a lot of theirs is sitting in reserves. The low-income housing numbers are sitting in reserves right now.
And there's plenty of money in the smelter site.
Yes.
Okay.
There is
What would
enough
that
money
be?
to cover this 400,000 in the smelter site low-income housing,
Because it's specific
amount.
for that.
because
Right.
it's specific for
And
that,
she said it was
yes.
2
And
million.
that's what this would go towards.
Yep.
Yes. It's moderate income housing. I call it low-income housing, but it's the same concept. Yeah.
Okay.
I knew I could answer that for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Phil.
Absolutely.
No, don't be sorry.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so we have a motion and an amended motion.
Correct.
So do we have a second on the amended motion?
I will second, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I will make a second on the amended motion.
Okay, so we have an amended motion by Councilmember Harekesi and a second by Councilmember Rogers. Can we have a,
Call. Mr. Harekesi.
Aye.
Mr. Rogers.
Aye.
Ms. Cotter.
Aye.
Ms. Dominguez.
Before I give my vote, I just want to disclose, I have received one of these loans from NeighborWorks already, but it doesn't change my decision or any of the conversation that's already been happening. So I'm going to move my vote to aye.
And Ms. Turner.
aye. Thank you. Okay, now we are on discussion item number 4,
Okay, and
smelter
Much-
site RDA.
much in the same
Funds.
vein here, we need to talk about the smelter site RDA. We've mentioned previously that the planned end for that RDA is the end of this current calendar year. Some decisions have to be made concerning the funds that are in there. The last number that I received was 4.6 million. However, I believe Brenda said that was a few months ago. There's definitely some additional funding in there, but that's a good ballpark figure for discussion purposes right now, I believe. And what you asked us to do is to come up with some potential projects to use some of that money or as much of that money to benefit the smelter site RDA as possible prior to the termination of the RDA. In researching it, we came up with the reimbursement to the city for improvements on Cottonwood Street. And this past year, the city spent $709,832 on road and concrete improvements on Intermountain Drive from 5300 South to Vine Street. So that would be a significant boost to the city's budget if we could reimburse those in the Public Works Department. Streetlights, if we were to upgrade all of the streetlights around the perimeter of the RDA, that would be $69,150. And you did appropriate an additional $200,000 for neighbor works. That was another area that I was going to bring up to you. One additional item, we will be required in the next couple of years to do an update of the Central Station transit area plan.
Did you say a couple years?
It's coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we have to start preparing for that. Zach has indicated that if we could appropriate $100,000 for that, that would enable us to apply for a grant, a matching grant, that will fund the study at $200,000. So that's another amount that we could pull from there. And let's see, I had, the total that I had did include that $200,000 for neighbor work, so that's gone, but my total was at $1,078,982. I rounded that to 1.1 million. If you take 200,000 from that, you've got $900,000. So those are projects that I feel we can easily justify. However, that does not cover all of the money that is available in that RDA. So we need to have some discussions on the remaining amount. Donations can be made to homeless funds, things like that. The Olene Walker Fund, that's been suggested. Also, we could try to extend the RDA. There are various methods that we could try to do that. I don't know about the timing of that. If there actually is enough time to get all those approvals, we would have to contact all of the taxing entities and get their approval to do that. And the other option is we let it terminate and we go to those taxing entities and we say that we've accomplished everything that we legitimately think we can do here, and we return their tax increment. So those are basically the options that I see going forward. And so, we don't expect a decision this evening on those, obviously. Those are big ticket items that need further discussion, and we do have 3 months to decide that.
How many?
End of this year.
3 months?
End
Wow.
of this year, yeah.
And how much is left after, Brenda?
Brenda, do you have an? Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just going on the paperwork that
Right.
says that the RDA does
How much is in
terminate
there
at the end
currently?
of this year. I don't know. Brenda, by the time we collect the tax increment, it'll be over $5 million, won't it? Okay, so about close to $6 million.
In there.
Yes.
When I was at the ULCT conference this last week, and I forgot what the time frame is, I was in a session where they talked about the Olene Walker.
Mhm.
It would be nice if someone came in from that organization and explain it to us more detailed. They
Sure.
didn't have that much time in the session to get into
Sure.
it very
We
deeply.
could arrange for that.
But maybe
and-
we could have someone representative from the Olin Walker to come in the committee of the whole and give us some
Well, it would
education on
be-
that?
It would be either the RDA planning meeting or
Yes.
a regular RDA meeting.
Okay.
It
It'd
would
have
be
to
up to
be an
you.
RDA.
Oh, yeah, that's fine, yeah. Because it was very interesting what was presented to me at the ULCT conference, and many other things that were presented to me, other options that we could spend money on. So,
Okay.
So it sounds like we need to continue this.
Yes, this particular item, we do need to have some detailed discussion and see how you folks feel about it.
Can I ask
So that we
another
can
question?
make a decision and.
So I have a couple more questions actually for you, Phil. And I want to, and Brenda, you're probably going to have to jump in on these because they're number questions. So, so 6 million, close to 6 million, we currently, with what you've laid out, have a plan for 900-ish thousand of it, let's call it.
About $1 million, yes.
Yeah, about $1 million.
About $1 million.
So the remaining 5 million of that, how much more could go to NeighborWorks potentially? What it could be, because I believe it's a specific allocation of that, correct? It's not all of it.
We don't, there's a specific allocation you have to use for low-income housing. Doesn't mean you can't use more.
Okay.
I don't know if you would want to do it all in
I don't
in down
disagree.
payment
I'm just
assistance.
asking.
You might want to do it in helping people stay in the homes they already own by
Yes.
adding roofs,
Right.
furnaces,
Right.
all of that stuff.
But is that a project, is that a plan that the city would have to undertake then? We would have to basically lay out a program or someone already does?
NeighborWorks does that stuff.
Okay, so there's other programs within NeighborWorks that we could allocate the money
Yes.
to?
Yes.
And we can get that information so we know what those programs are
Right.
here by maybe in the next RDA meeting, have that information? Okay,
And some more numbers on the next RDA
Wonderful.
meeting, so you'll know.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I don't want to give that money up. I don't want to give it back. I want to do as much as we can for Murray with that money rather than, giving it to an organization, which is
Murray
probably
will
great.
actually get back 13% of whatever we're giving back. The city of Murray,
Yeah,
just so you know, because that's, I don't know exactly what year they decide what percentage goes back when, but the city of Murray would get back some of that money.
I
I
think
have a-
that'd be great. Yes.
I have a question. Wherever we give this money to, could it go to like a nonprofit entity for a community center or other things like that of sorts, or?
I think mostly for economic development, it needs to generate
Income.
income for the entities that participated, and just giving it to nonprofits, besides the low-income housing set aside,
Right.
that does not generate future revenue for, so that's not in the spirit of the RDA rules. Putting in
Okay.
that Cottonwood Road and keeping that Cottonwood Road maintained does generate economic
Value.
value.
And these that Phil has listed, they also fit into
Yeah,
that. So
the actual first building of the Cottonwood Street was done with RDA funds, with TIF money. The hospital didn't get any TIF money, but the city got TIF money, repaying us for putting in that street, because it was not there. Or if it was there, it was probably a little teeny narrow thing.
any other comments, questions? Okay, then we'll continue this, and any other options you can bring to
We
us?
will have some additional information at the planning meeting.
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks, Phil.
All right.
Okay. Project updates.
Okay, downtown area plan is next, and Zach is going to give you an update on the downtown area plan process.
So if it's okay, I'm just going to go over the 3 project updates I have, which are A, C, and D, if that's okay. Downtown area plan. So we had the latest open house on the 6th of September, I believe. and it was pretty well attended. We also had the stakeholder meeting the day after that to kind of go over what was said and how the consultant is going to move forward with that. So we're have another stakeholder meeting in October where we're actually going to present I'm working with Ben on it, is going to present the information that kind of comes out of it, more of the guidelines, some suggestions of what to do to go forward with that. So
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we surveying online at all for
no,
this?
that's now
It was
done.
all in person. It's already,
Well,
already done.
Yeah, so we did do an online survey. It was open for a few weeks, I think, and then
Okay.
it had closed.
I just want to make sure
Yeah.
that
Yep.
we're not going to continue that. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. And then any other questions about the downtown plan? Okay. So I'll move on to C, which is the Employee Down Payment Assistance Program. That's officially live. That got sent out by Kathy, I believe, yesterday. So it's officially live. I don't know if we've received any applications. NeighborWorks is going to be following all that from now on. So they can provide an update when they do their regular updates as well.
And currently, the city is funding that program, correct?
The RDA is funding
The
that.
RDA is funding
Yeah,
that.
as
So
the-
can some of these funds be used for that, some of the $6 million? Yes, okay.
Yes.
But that's not part of the 400,000 that we'd agreed on tonight.
Correct.
So there's potential there as well for another opportunity if we
Yeah,
started
so-
getting some big.
Yeah, the Employee Down Payment Assistance Program is a pilot program for this year to see how it works, if it gets some. Yeah, and so we will see how it moves forward. I'm hoping we get to know some more information soon. So
That flyer looked really, really nice.
yeah.
It was very precise.
Yep.
Thanks.
And then last one that I'm kind of presenting on tonight is the fire clay bollards. Trey Stokes, the city engineer, did get, went through the procurement process, and that's moving forward. So he's put in the order. They're going to look really nice. They're not going to be like your typical plastic, yellow, bright things. They're actually going to have a decorative look to them. So
Are they going to look like the ones that you gave us the report on
Yes.
first?
yeah,
that
they're
look
going to
like
look
a
a
chimney?
little. Yeah, they're going to look a little different, but
Okay.
I mean largely the same. Yeah.
And they'll be a nice color.
Oh yeah. So not orange. And that's all I have. So I'll let Phil come back up and do his stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach.
Okay. We will, we'll jump around just a little bit here, but item B is update on the Murray Transportation Assistance Program. And we are at the point where it's ready to roll out pending the approval by the provider, which they're called Esther. They will be distributing the cards. We have a contract that the attorney's office has drafted that I just received the first draft, and we'll be sending that off to them this week. And once they sign that, they have their application process completed online, and everything is ready to go. The money's been appropriated. We're just waiting on that final contract approval. So that's going to happen anytime now. On the, let's see here. Item E, the townhouse relocation. Townsend, I'm sorry, the Townsend House. It's the project that I've really been educated on moving houses, let me tell you. There is one company in the state of Utah, they're based in Utah County, that does this, and they moved the chapel. I contacted them, they came out, did an evaluation of the house. Then they went back and they did an evaluation of their ability to do it. The two gentlemen are brothers. They're in their late 60s, one is 70. And they wanted to do this project as kind of one last big move that, they could really hang their hat on. But after looking at the house and looking at their equipment and the money that they would have to invest in rehabilitating their equipment and so forth, and talking to each other about their age and their capabilities, they have decided they cannot do that. They did refer me to a company, Wolf House Movers, in Pennsylvania. They have actually done work here in the state of Utah. I was told that they are the company that moved the Oddfellows Hall down in downtown Salt Lake City. I remember when that was moved, and it was about an $8 million move. It's a huge brick and mortar building. I am waiting for a ballpark estimate from them right now. They have a website that you submit information to. They immediately called me, got additional information. I've been able to upload our structural evaluation of the house and all the documents that I had. I was hopeful that they would get back to me before the meeting today, but they have not. So when that comes in, their bid will be substantially higher than the $100,000 that is technically earmarked right now for this move. So it will create some more discussion about this, and we'll see what you folks want to do. Also, though, in lieu of just saying we either move it or that's it, we tear it down, I don't, obviously we don't want to do that. I am working on some alternatives for that general area there that involve both the Margaret Cahoon House, the Townsend House, and tying it in with the mansion and that central area there. So we will have some rough proposals, some rough drafts for you to look at with regard to that too, so that you can compare the cost that it's going to cost to move the house versus some other alternatives as well. Okay, and I should be able to have all that by the planning meeting next week. And one last, let's see, 5025 South State Project, or Old City Hall. It's moving along. That's about all I can say. We have a new committee that's meeting, and it's a very small subcommittee that's working on making some progress and getting this to a point where it can be made public, and we'll be working with the selected developer to move this forward. That's really about all I can say at this time. Okay. And one last item, Cherry Street Road improvements, they should be underway anytime. So that's the last time we'll hear about Cherry Street until they're done, and I can show you some pictures in there. All right. Okay, any other questions for us?
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil. And thank you, board. I appreciate your discussion, and it's been good. So with that, we are adjourned.
And we do have quite a bit of time until our next meeting, and so we are noticed at 6 o'clock to begin the next meeting, so we will have 30 minutes now of break. So, thank you.